Hello, everybody. Welcome to the May 1st show, number 97 of the Tesla Life. We're getting pretty close to those triple digits. Almost there. Almost. And you know what that means? Syndication.
Party?
That's what that means.
Syndication?
Once you hit 100, isn't that syndication automatically?
Wait, I'm writing down the word. Does royalties come into this at any point?
So I'm syndicated?
It's got to be part of syndication, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Royalties.
Exactly.
But
well, we will see. We will see. Well, welcome to the show, everybody. We've got a bunch of Tesla news, as always, never changes. But first, some introductions. My co-host for tonight's show is Mr. Russell Frost out of sunny San Diego, based on what I can see out your window.
It is actually sunny here today. It actually rained the last 2 days. It wasn't supposed to rain, but like a few hours, and then it rained for 2 days, which is so not San Diego and so not California. I think I've been kidnapped and they're playing me. I'm actually still in Florida, but there's like mountain dioramas and stuff around me. Does that make sense? You know, really, in light of everything that we've been through in the last 30 minutes, that makes perfect sense.
But you can still go out every once in a while and you can see the ocean, right? They haven't moved you. You're not on the other side of the mountain.
The ocean is still on the right side.
Okay, all right.
So, yeah, I don't know how they're faking that. And I know the beaches here, whereas I don't know the beaches there. I mean,
put you on the flat Earth turntable.
Oh, no.
You're on the flat Earth lazy Susan.
Oh,
sure, however that stuff's supposed to work.
God.
Next, out of the other side of the continent, Mr. Casey Green in South Carolina. How are you today, sir?
I'm sweaty. I'm sick.
Oh, humidity. Humidity has moved in.
Oh, no, I think it's just my fever.
He's not feeling well. Yeah, he's not feeling well.
Wow. Well, I hope you can last the show, sir.
I think I should be able to.
That's good.
If you see me fall asleep, then just shout my name.
Yeah, we'll shout your name a couple times.
Casey, wake up!
Exactly.
Just practicing. I'm sorry.
Well, we got a bunch of stuff for today's show. As always, it never seems to stop with Tesla. Our first story of the evening comes from last week concerning people's thought that the Model 3 standard drive, or the SR version, was going to maybe disappear quietly in the near future. Because, of course, what happened is that the SR version moved off of the web page. You can't order the car through the web page. You can only order it by calling a store or by visiting a store. So they, and of course, we've seen other cars, brands of, or I guess types of cars, models that have gone that way. They've disappeared off the website, and then a few weeks later, you can't get them anymore. The off menu list disappears as well.
It is following the pattern.
Exactly. So there was some speculation that was the case, but Elon got into an argument with a few unknown, or I'm not going to say unknown, I'm going to say unnamed publications. We won't go into specifics, but there was a bit of a Twitter fight about whether or not Russell as to whether or not this was the case. Elon claims that the Model 3 will remain as an off-menu item. It will not disappear as other models have done. They are going to keep it available to be ordered if you know the secret password.
Yeah. I love the idea that
I'd like to turn down the navigation. No, I'd like to turn down the upgrades. No, I'd like to turn down. Yes, just give me the daggum car. Secret password.
I believe the secret password is Sebastian.
Shibule. The secret password is Elon needs another $10. I don't get how the company that was going to close all of its stores and everybody's going to order on their phone now makes you call customer service, which is, let's be clear, well known for its horribleness.
It is, but the computer is very easily to dismiss as it tries to upsell you. The human is not.
The human's supposed to be more persistent, but will they? Are they? Will they be?
If they're in your face, it's they can guilt trip you, and if they're on the phone, they can keep reading the spiel.
those contract employees at the call center in Nevada. They are dedicated and non-commissioned salespeople. They are
absolutely dedicated.
I will say I was less than thrilled with the Nevada employees on my transaction.
Yeah, go figure.
90% of them were fired, so my guys are probably gone. So
it's a different scenario. All people were doing was based on what had happened in the past with other models. They were thinking that that's exactly what's going to happen with the base Model 3. But Elon states that nope, he's keeping it on the menu, just that you have to call in or go to a store.
It followed the blueprint.
It did.
But,
it absolutely did.
It may have been your guys' fault.
It could be, and that's coming up later.
I know.
That's coming up later. Absolutely.
Can I do the next story?
Go right ahead.
I didn't mean to, like, when you're done, when you're ready.
Sir, I am done. You are set to go.
So our next story comes from Inside EVs, and I'm trying to figure out why it's a story. Because the story is a question that isn't answered, and it's the only two possibilities put forth were something that everyone with a brainstem knew.
It's a coin flip. Yep.
It's a coin flip. Okay. Right. Yep. So we wrote a story with absolutely no information in it. Let's talk about it. The headline is Tesla Model Y will be manufactured in Fremont, California or Sparks, Nevada.
The only two possibilities.
Raise your hand. Yeah. If that's a surprise to you.
What about that new mysterious Northern California warehouse that nobody knows what it's for? That's about to open. Could that be it?
Supposedly a parts depot. It's still technically
could be
Fremont,
anything.
isn't it?
Could be anything.
It could be anything.
But no, you're right. It's elementary. It's either the Gigafactory or it's Fremont. But I think what this story was basically saying was that people discounted Fremont because of space constrictions. And what they're saying in this article and others is that they feel they can open it up more with even more sprung structures. So the thought of putting a couple of lines under a new sprung structure is what they have the availability to do.
Let's see. Here it is. So the quote was, we're fans of hardcore tents, not like Cub Scout tents.
The Elon quote, yes, of the last earnings call, yes.
Why would they make it in Sparks?
Because that's where the motors and batteries come from.
Motors and batteries.
Right. And where do the rest of the parts come from?
Fremont.
That would be Fremont.
And do they already have a regular shipping schedule of motors and parts from Sparks to Fremont?
Apparently they do.
Are most of the parts for the vehicle in Sparks or Fremont?
One might say 70%.
Fremont is the answer.
I don't understand. At first I don't understand the question. Okay, they're going to make it at one of them. Great. And then I'm like, he's going to make it in a tent in Fremont.
I think that the only question really is, are they going to be able to move all the extra boxes hanging around in time for it to happen and to install the line?
Yeah, because they're using Fremont as storage facility as well, right? Of parts that are picking up and stacking. You've got to have some physical room for parts that are coming in and haven't been assembled yet, obviously.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's probably
they've got a year and a half to move the stuff.
We don't know yet, but they say in the next few weeks we will know, and certainly we will cover it here when it does happen. And if it does happen during the week, you make sure that you are subscribed to our Twitter feed at the Tesla Life or our Facebook feed, the Tesla Life #1. And we will broadcast that when it happens, when we become aware of when it happens. So you'll be informed as well.
They have a pair of external factors deciding this as well. They've already ordered the equipment, and so
they got to ship it somewhere.
And if they make the manufacturer hold the equipment, those are probably hefty fees.
So the manufacturer gets the order, they fulfill the order, and they say, okay, where are we shipping it? And they say, hold on. We don't know yet. Just we'll let you know in a couple weeks.
Like all Tesla planning, non-existent. We're innovating on the sly.
It is in motion, absolutely, at all times.
We're thinking so far ahead, we don't even know where we're going.
That's right.
That keeps things open, Russell. Keeps it all open. You
Which
do whatever
sort
you
of
want.
segues into the next story.
Yes, it does. 2170 battery production, as we've heard recently, has dropped off. Has never achieved its full scale that it was supposed to
Allegedly.
at Gigafactory.
Allegedly.
Yeah. So
Let's
Elon
wait
had
for the
even,
Panasonic earnings call in like a week. That will be a
Also-
very
that will
interesting
be
call.
another piece of the puzzle. Certainly.
Yeah.
Also, allegedly, the low yields.
But apparently, Elon had indicated that the Gigafactory is only running 2/3, and that is some of the constraint that they're running into for power walls and such. Is that they're putting them all into the Model 3, and they don't have extra to go in the other spaces they would like, power walls, power systems, and so forth. But this report came out of Inside EVs that indicated that Panasonic in Japan could move a line or two onto the new 2170s and transfer from the 18650, which they're currently making for, of course, the S and the X, I believe, come from those plants. So there is talk they could either add another line or convert a line. But it's kind of weird that why can't they get the right quantity or quality of cans inside of the Gigafactory? Why are they not able over this period of time to get to the proper amount or volume that they were contracted for?
And this right here, if they do build them in Japan, will show them a thing or two, because apparently they know what to expect out of this factory, and all they're doing is changing the size of the can and the length of the jelly roll. So if the yield size doesn't change, then they know that it's a training issue.
Or maybe there's another explanation.
Go ahead.
Maybe somebody's full of shit.
I mean, obviously, but this will prove it.
This will allow the more fingers to point to the problem.
Right.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So we will see if that happens or does not. Those are the pieces of puzzles that we currently have. We'll see if we can gather some more over the next couple of weeks. And as Russell mentioned, the Panasonic earnings call could certainly add to that focus.
Yeah, I mean, traditionally, Panasonic and most of the Japanese companies are very stoic on these things and don't say stuff. But they certainly have, how should we say, been called out, and they may decide that it warrants some sort of statement. So it's going to be a very interesting, I think, call to see if they say anything. Now, if they don't say anything, it doesn't prove anything, sadly.
It's true.
Yeah.
With the way that it was announced, though, like the no sources quoted and all that, and then they reluctantly responded, and Elon also jumped on once they did. I'm curious if they will even bring it up, like you said.
We shall see. We shall see shortly. And some brighter news for those of those across the pond from us over in the UK. You guys can expect the Model 3 showing up on your order forms any hour now. Apparently, it's supposed to happen at the beginning of May, which we are now sitting at. So I would guesstimate that you're going to be hearing about this in the next few days. So those of you in the UK, get your fingers ready to order, because it's coming your way. And the right-hand drive vehicle that you've been waiting for is about to arrive, at least on your computer.
I had conversations on Twitter with some folks who were early reservation holders who say that theirs are available to configure and everything now. So probably just a matter of whichever your edge computing device is catching up.
Okay, so in some of the country, it's already been confirmed today that it's shown up.
Yeah,
excellent.
That's cool.
Excellent. So that's another big plus, that we've now have a right-hand vehicle available, which also can go to other right-hand countries like Australia.
Yeah, just some small tweaks.
Yeah, so you've got some more markets opening up for the 3, which is great.
They also, it was unique that they are doing the full spread. You can get from standard range all the way up to performance on day one, rather than having to do long range performance like they did in other expansions.
Okay, so it's the whole palette is available to pick from.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is cool.
Yep, that's certainly better. It's questionable as to why they did it that way. I don't know.
Volume.
They want more and more. They don't want to pull any punches. They're saying just open the spigot all the way in the UK.
They're going for units rather than profit right now, it looks like.
Very good. Okay. Next story. This was interesting. Fully Charged, which is a popular YouTube channel that talks about electric vehicles. Robert Llewellyn, I believe is the name.
Yeah.
Had the ability to take a Model 3 for a bit of a test drive from Copenhagen to Oslo, Norway. So he had to travel about 600 kilometers in a Model 3. And Robert's not a stranger to Tesla. Obviously, he's been covering the segment for quite some time, as well as he owns one or rents one personally, or leases one personally.
Is it a lease? I thought he bought it.
I think he's got a lease.
Oh,
Model S lease.
Yeah, he has an S. Yeah.
Yeah, and I will certainly direct you to go watch his video. It's extremely interesting. The trip that he takes, he tries out DC fast charging with the CCS plug that the Model S has in Europe. And he also, of course, uses superchargers along the way. And he talks about the different charge speeds between the two, as well as he makes the comment that he did not want to be a fanboy of Tesla. He was hoping that the car would have some quirks or problems that he could kind of point to. And he did discover something with autopilot. It was a little bit quirky compared to his Model S, he felt. But he ended up saying that he absolutely adores the Model 3. It's better than his S. He wishes he has one. And he went completely on the other side from what he was hoping to find. Probably, tongue in cheek. But it was interesting that he was able to try the smaller version of the car, which obviously the S is about 20% bigger. It certainly was interesting to hear his differences as he was traveling the 600 kilometers to this EV conference he was going to in Oslo. So it's a good video to watch, interesting, and of course entertaining, which most of the Fully Charged, if not all of them, are made very, very well produced and done. So I would encourage you to go take a look at that particular episode. Now, Casey, did you hear that the ruling came back from the SEC?
Yes.
And was it a big splash of a ruling? Something that would shock people?
Some people were surprised by it. I don't know why, because he's complying with everything from day one.
So really,
except for the 420 tweet.
Well, okay. There was one number, but as the ruling came out, basically there is no fines. There's no additional, I guess, monetary fines at all towards Tesla or towards Elon. And now there's just some additional social media rules.
Yeah. And basically, this is what Tesla was asking for from the get-go was, aside from when they pulled out their big stick and were threatening to make it so he couldn't run a lemonade stand, they were very vague. They were like, material information. And they're like, okay, well, then we won't share anything that we haven't shared with the public somewhere else already. And then he shares some stuff from the shareholder conference. And they're like, oh, that's material information. You're going to jail. And so basically, Judge Nathan threw it out. She's like, you guys need to be big people and come back with something that works. And it looks like Tesla got what they wanted, was some hard numbers, and the SEC got what they wanted, which was not let Elon be his own police officer. Although when they signed it, it was that's what they agreed to. It's not necessarily their fault that it's not necessarily Tesla's fault that the SEC didn't read it.
So in that ruling, is there anything that says that Elon needs a in-between babysitter for his tweets?
He'll need to run anything that is on the list through the SEC lawyers on his team before they can put it out.
So he'll have to run it through some Tesla lawyers that are assigned to do this.
Right.
If he's tweeting on certain subjects that are now outlined as to what they are.
Exactly. But if you're going to do that, you might as well do a press release and then he can tweet about it to his heart's content.
Right.
Yeah.
So it seemed to be a whole lot for nothing. Like the showing up at court, the standing in front of a judge, the judge saying, "You people work it out and get back to me in a couple weeks."
Well, she was super annoyed by the SEC lawyers, and then she said that the Tesla lawyers had no imagination. So not amused with the way
judge didn't want to see it anyways. Just said, "You guys figure it out and shut up,
or else I'll do it for you."
There you go. And no one will like the outcome, I'm sure.
Exactly, just like a parent giving an ultimatum. But I think they did what, 2 or 3 extensions to get their 1 hour in room together.
Yep. Because it's tough, isn't it? Isn't it, Russell? It's just tough to get into the room with a bunch of lawyers and agree to something.
It can be.
I've never met a lawyer, so I have no
idea. Next, Model Y shows up.
Model Y?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
It's who's on first. Why?
Why?
No, what?
Exactly. So the Model Y shows up at the Tesla seat factory that we spoke about last week in Fremont. So they had it out on display for employees. It was captured by a number of different Reddit forums and published by Tesla Rati, who showed a few shots. And to some people's delight, the third row seat was photographed in somewhat daylight conditions. Not great, but it was at least show. There were people saying, "Oh, looks like the headrests fall down," and then someone else chimed in and said, "It's not a production model. There probably is no headrest on the third row seat." So
made of clay.
so there were some people excited that they thought they had some information, and others were quick to shoot them down and say, "This is not a production model, people. So keep it tampered down on your expectations here." So
yeah.
But it did look like the blue one that was on display during the unveil of the Model Y.
The one that could move.
The one that moved.
The one.
Yes.
Until we see 2 of them next to each other, right? Now I know there was some driving around. Yes. Allegedly.
No, not allegedly. We saw it. It's on video.
Yeah.
Sure.
There were only 2 Model 3s.
Hallucinogenic gas. They gassed the whole crowd. They were driving around in Model 3s the whole time.
That would explain the mass vomiting. Yes, that probably was there.
Yeah.
You just hit it on the nose.
It's an old CIA trick.
2 Model 3s, 1 Roadster, 1 Model Y, 2 semis.
2 semis. Everyone was loaded in a trailer. They didn't even know what was going on.
Breathe deep, folks. Breathe deep.
Look at the room in this thing. You could fit 7 rows, not 3. And Russell, I'm going to ask you to pull up some pics here about the Kitchener Service Center that we talked about last week. Well, sure enough, there are people actually working on it. So some signage went up.
Look at that.
And we've got the Tesla sign that's now appearing here in Kitchener-Waterloo in Southern Ontario. We had someone comment on the Twitter feed about Waterloo. Where is that? We sent them the address, and they said, "Well, that address doesn't exist." It turns out they were in Waterloo, Iowa.
Idiot.
So yeah, that's not the same country. Now,
you're in the wrong country, man.
Yeah.
In the picture of the red Tesla sign that we saw with the gentleman in front of it, that happens to be Ian from our club, but his head is hiding some graffiti that was on the sign below the Tesla T.
Graffiti?
And graffiti was actually on the sign, And of course, this used to be a Saab dealership.
Right.
So it was abandoned for over a year before Tesla started to work on it here last week. So the Saab sign was vandalized. Someone spray painted on it. And what was funny was that someone commented about seeing the spray paint on the sign and saying, "Oh, look, new Tesla service center's opening up in Kitchener, and they've already spray painted the sign with graffiti." And it's a way to keep it classic, or way to keep it classy. KW was the comment they put on the social media.
That's not right.
So that was kind of funny that it was assumed that they put the Tesla sign up immediately, and immediately it was spray painted, but that was not
How
the case.
can they say something like that nasty about the KW region? I mean, that's just not fair.
They don't know us, Russell, not like you. They don't
Exactly.
know us.
If this
They
is
just-
Waterloo, Iowa, that would be a whole different thing. Okay. Those bastards, they'll do anything. I know people there. That's why I say that.
Okay. All right.
And right now, both of those people are plotting to kill me.
Both of them are very upset. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so I wanted to take a minute to ask everybody to hit the thumbs up on this live stream.
Absolutely. Casey's the man. He knows how this works. Just if you're watching, please give us a thumbs up, and that pushes us up, gets us in front of new eyes. So
Yes.
we would appreciate that. Absolutely. And if you're here for the first time, if you're a first-time viewer, please press that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up, and that would be great. That really helps us out. We really appreciate that.
And while you're there, there'll be a little bell icon that appears.
And what does that bell do, TKC? Tell us.
Well, first you'll ring it. What that'll do is every time that we have a publication, either we go live or we put a video up, it will let you know about it. Because if you don't check that, then Google will, when it feels like it, will let you know that there's stuff out there. But this other way tells them, hey, I want to know every time there's a new one.
As soon as there's a new video, I want to know about it.
That's right.
Very good. Now, we talked about this a little while ago, about the Fremont Police Department getting themselves a used Tesla Model X. And they're not the only police department to use Teslas in the fleet. Recently, well, actually a little bit more than recently ago, the Switzerland police had rolled out, they purchased a number of Model X's.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there was a hold on putting these vehicles into action because of privacy concerns. So the police, after ordering and receiving their Model X's, realized that, hey, these things are tracked. These things can be plotted on the internet. These things, Tesla knows where they are.
It was worse than that.
So apparently they had issues with these vehicles being connected to the internet and connected to geolocation. And it was such a concern, they didn't put the vehicles into action. They just kind of mothballed them and went over their options as what they were.
It's not $1 million of cars just sit here, do nothing.
Yeah. So,
well, one of the concerns they had was that they thought the cars were listening to them. They can, but not without you pushing the button first.
Allegedly.
Right.
Or
Well,
pushing the
there
answer
is-
call button. You can just hack it and find out what the data it sends out. Remove the SIM card.
There, people have talked about this in other models as well.
Yeah.
Like in the Model 3, you've got yourself a little camera up by the rear view mirror that's staring at you.
Yeah.
They say it's not activated.
They say.
Who knows? Who knows if it is or not?
Well, the people hacking it haven't been able to find any evidence that it's doing anything yet.
Yeah.
Okay, but of course, hackers may not be able to find some of it.
And all we really have to do is look at the example of Samsung smart TVs and go,
That's a terrible example, but yeah, it happens.
oh, so those microphones and those cameras actually get used.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Wasn't there an advisement
the
from
stories-
Samsung not
Or
to
the
have a
stories
conversation?
the stories about Alexa in the middle of the night playing music all of a sudden.
My wife says that thing talks to itself during the day.
Well, there you go. So you've got yourself these listening and seeing devices that are collecting data.
Jeff Bezos wants your soul.
When they're not really supposed to, or when you least expect it. And that's I guess that's part of the agreement in today's world. We are sitting here, we're happily allowing people to possibly track us through our cell phones as we wander around. Do we know where the data is going? Not really.
Yeah.
We're told
that's a good argument,
are off limits, but are they? We don't know.
I mean,
really,
if you're carrying the cell phone, pretty much all those arguments are out the window. But if you're carrying like an old flip phone or something, then maybe.
Well, if you're, it's, I don't know. Where is privacy going?
Well,
really,
it also depends on the company. Like, do you trust Facebook? Probably not. Do you trust Apple and Tesla? Probably more so.
But it becomes a question of, did you trust Facebook before all the things happened?
Yeah, it's true.
So people were trusting Facebook, saying, well, I'm sure they're just doing their thing and blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden it comes out, all these other things. And it's like, no, now I don't trust them. But they're not trusting them now because of example of what happened.
Exactly.
So maybe the other companies are just being a little smarter and not having this stuff released. I don't know. It's a weird situation. And the police were grappling with it. But ultimately, Casey, how did they overcome this thought? Did they just throw their hands up and say, we can't do anything?
I thought they talked to the company and got reassurances and then threw their hands up and said, all right, well, we got to put this asset into use.
So they talked to the large company, and the large company said, we won't do anything like that. You're fine.
We don't have time for you guys.
So the police said, you know what? We've got $10 million plus sitting in mothballed. We better get them on the road or we're going to lose our jobs anyway. So, so off they rolled. New lights and push bars and all. But a Model X for a police cruiser, just seems...
It has more headroom.
Yeah. Was that the problem in Switzerland? Criminals with necks that were bent because they had to get into small cars?
I don't know. Plus, you got more weight to do a pit maneuver, and you can tow stuff.
Yep. But
I actually have to say, I think the X makes more sense as a police cruiser than the S.
Yeah, I mean, look at the American departments. They're all moving to the Tahoe and the Explorer.
Yes, they're all moving to SUVs. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that's another issue, but
thirsty SUVs.
Something like that.
Okay, next. There was a surprise that Tesla has pulled another demand lever, and they've indicated that Supercharger referral fees have now increased 500%. So as before, you were getting basically it was 1,000 miles of free supercharging when you purchased an S, X, or 3, any version of the car. And now recently it was announced that we're now at 5,000 miles of free supercharging for any purchase. And of course, the miles go for both the purchase E and the purchase-er. So anyone that its code is used would get those miles, as well as the person purchasing the vehicle at the time. So
hit us up.
So if anyone out there is thinking about buying a Tesla and needs one, send a note into the show or the Facebook or Twitter feeds, and we will be happy to provide you with a code.
Absolutely. That's Mark 35627.
And
and Casey, what's your number?
1109.
1109.
Yeah.
There you go.
Very good. Very good.
I'm glad you gentlemen settled that amicably, by the way. I'm very impressed.
Give me those referrals.
There'll be trouble after the show, but we're not going to talk about that right now.
Ooh, cool.
Next, the FCC lets us know that they have approved Starlink's first batch of satellites. And we're talking about quite a batch. We're talking 1,500 plus satellites.
Yeah.
Have been approved into a certain geosynchronous orbit around the Earth that they've been Tesla's been going, well, not Tesla, SpaceX has been going back and forth with the FCC, trying to agree upon a certain height above the Earth that these satellites are going to revolve, because they have had some kickback from another satellite group that is at another orbit, and we're concerned that the Tesla satellites, or I'm sorry, the SpaceX satellites, were going to affect the transmission of their current satellites, which aren't nearly as many, but there are a few in a certain orbit that they felt could be troublesome.
Constant pushback.
Yes. So apparently, it just happened a few days ago, late last week. It was approved that the orbit that they have set up is going to be fine. And almost immediately, the next bit of information was that the first batch of those 1,500 satellites have already been delivered to Kennedy Space Center in Florida, and they're getting prepped to be put on the next available rocket to be sent to space.
Did they say how many is in that batch?
I didn't see that in the article.
Okay.
Yeah. So, over 1,500 total for the first, I guess, grouping.
Right.
I would think.
I don't know.
I think I remember previously, I believe that there's a few dozen that would be put inside of one satellite.
Oh, okay.
Maybe 24, something like that. I thought, I could be wrong, but that's the number that comes to mind at this point.
There you go.
So
the other interesting thing about that is the first batch won't be completely disintegrated when they return to Earth.
That makes it kind of dangerous, doesn't it?
That's a very slim chance, they say.
To this point in my life, I've never been hit by a satellite.
Exactly.
Knock on wood.
Let's keep it that way, right?
Yes.
But the next batch will be fully disintegratable, and they will have some geosynchronous, but this first several launches are going to be low Earth, very, very low Earth. Yeah. Because that other company kept protesting, and they're like, fine, if we put it just at the edge of the atmosphere, the bulk of it, what can you do now? And they got approved. So
this group will go up and start the Starlink network, which we really don't know what its purpose would be besides communications, which is a pretty wide open statement. Could actually it's going to have something to do with internet, we believe. But we really don't know the full scope of what this is going to be completely.
Yeah, so
communications internet. For
sure. So what Elon has sold us on so far is that when this is 100%, we'll be able to get a pizza box sized antenna. We'll have sub 10 millisecond response time and gigabit symmetrical to space, which will be fun. That's just really awesome internet. My fiber barely touches some of those numbers.
I wonder what kind of price that will be for the normal human being buying a monthly subscription.
Hopefully it's low. He doesn't have to run cables everywhere.
I'm with you, Casey, 100%.
Yeah, hopefully he gets enough people to lower it down.
Yeah.
But the other bonus, of course, of a system like this is that if you are in a region of the world that does not have current other internet options, like on a ship at sea, in a country that typically does not have that type of infrastructure, being able to set up that antenna anywhere on Earth will be certainly a benefit to anybody in those type of areas.
Absolutely. So much for Facebook deploying their flying drone internet. Thing.
Who knows if that may still come?
It might. Amazon got approved for their drone mothership.
Oh, did you see the photos of that? Or the crazy, this massive, double the size of a Goodyear blimp rolls in, and all the little flying drones drop out of it to make their parcel deliveries. That was a crazy animation.
I haven't seen that. Wow.
That you look it up, I'm sure. The Amazon drone delivery mothership. It's just crazy. But,
all right.
it's been out there for a couple weeks, but I'm sure you can find it just through a YouTube search. Next. Oh yeah, this is interesting. We talked about this a lot more during the initial launch of the Model 3, but recently Tesla has registered over 40,000 VIN numbers in a single registration process. So we used to thought it was great news when 1,000 was done. We've got now at the point where they're registering 40,000 at a time, which is certainly a new high for registrations. But this is not actual sales, obviously. This is just a registration, which Tesla has the ability to register whatever they want. But again, the number was kind of dramatic. So we thought we would mention that this week.
So
They certainly wouldn't do that in response to a crappy first quarter, would they?
Do you think that's a possibility?
I don't know. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
an evil company might do something distracting like that.
Yeah,
I'm not
but
saying
then-
Tesla would. I'm saying an evil company might.
But then you gotta like if something happens to one of those cars, you'd have to replace it with the exact same unit with options and everything, so it all lines
No,
up.
you could pre-register though, Casey. I think is what Russell's mentioning.
Yeah. I'm saying like so they all correspond to a config, at least for a motor type and country.
Right.
So sometimes the color, depending on the manufacturer, not this one, but
Yeah.
it's risky to do it the way they do it and not be ready. So I have a feeling that those are real. Like you said, an evil company might take advantage of the system. But
Might.
so if they're doing 40,000 at one time, how are they doing with their idea of not dumping everything in the last 2 weeks of the quarter? It looks like they're not going to do that again.
Bingo. How does that happen? Yeah. Like, I am wondering. Okay, so we are now 1 month into the new quarter. Like
Yeah.
we're through April, so it's been another 30 days. Gosh,
Unless they do the whole boat
I
thing
hope
again.
they realize that the end of the second quarter is coming.
I'm sure they see it, but I
It's
mean,
60 days away, people.
they can't ride share 40,000 cars with another car company. They're going to do whole boats again, and then are they going to tax the staff and do a delivery slam again? Or
Yeah, you and everyone else on this show knows exactly that is what they're going to do.
that's what it looks like. They said they're not going to, but there's no way they can get that many cars out without doing that again.
It's amazing that they even talked about it this time after the first quarter, that they needed to spread things out. They needed to make things happen in a more linear manner as opposed to just ramping at the end. But here we are, 30 days gone.
Now they get 2.5 weeks instead of 1 week.
I'm offended that you guys think they're planning this at all. Okay.
I didn't suggest planning it. I mean, you don't do 40,000 with 1.5 months to go.
Why
and
not?
expect them to get there in time. They got to get across the ocean.
Yeah, it's a month to get across the ocean.
Exactly.
Like,
They haven't even
30
built
days.
them yet.
They might be almost done.
Oh, come on. 3,000 a week divided by 40
They're doing more than 3,000.
says who?
Right. We're not. we are not getting actual numbers.
Yeah.
All we get is we can do 5,000 comfortably. That's all we hear.
We can burst it up to
Says
7,800. Burst.
Yes.
Yeah,
We can
burst.
do burst. And in the last 2 weeks, when we're really whipping those employees, we get 8,500. But on day one of quarter two, you know how many came off the line? 3.
They were recovering. They were all out
Exactly.
sick.
They were all in recovery mode. Yeah, it was like major hangover from the last week. We've got to ramp up slowly.
They didn't
now.
have time to drink.
We'll
They
start
passed
with
out
3.
from exhaustion.
Oh man, good stuff. Good stuff. So we know the end of the quarter's coming. We just hope Tesla knows.
Yeah, we've seen this show before.
Exactly.
We have?
Maybe
Oh.
third quarter they'll be able to do this and get it right.
Possibly, but we're not betting our paychecks on it, are we?
I certainly wouldn't.
No way.
No way.
No
Okay.
way.
Another bit of positive news. You guys remember 2 weeks ago when we talked a little bit about the Canadian credit for EVs? In fact, we mentioned this on the What Drives Us podcast. We talked a little bit about the federal government of Canada was offering a $5,000 EV rebate to anyone in Canada to purchase an EV if that EV was under $45,000, if they had a base model that was advertised at under $45,000.
So if you had 49,999 and 99 cents, would it count?
It would count. Absolutely. Absolutely. So Tesla, of course, did not at that time have a Canadian model in Canadian dollars under that amount. They were sitting at about 47.5, I believe was the number at that particular point in time. And there was a lot of belly aching from different people because, of course, the Model 3 is now the best-selling EV in Canada. So there was a lot of people upset that the most popular car was not even on the list to be considered for it. And May 1st rolled around, which, of course, was today. And lo and behold, Tesla shows up on the list overnight. It turns out they took a Model 3 standard range. They cut the mileage down to, get this, 150 kilometers or 90 miles. Software limited the battery. Do not sell the car on the website. You have to call in or visit a store to order it. But that, of course, with that, and the base price was $1 under. So it was $44,999. So it's $1 under. And with that car being listed officially, the Canadian government put it on their list of EVs that were approved. That allows them, just like the other manufacturers, to sell a higher price, $1.
$1, Mortimer.
$1. It allows them to sell a higher priced version of the car up to $55,000 Canadian. And it doesn't have to include add-ons like color or autopilot or other things that ramp up the price. So really, what Tesla has designed this for, obviously, is they say you can have the standard range model with, again, 90 miles, 150 kilometers of range. That's software limited. Or you can spend another $10,000 on top of that and get yourself the SR Plus model, which has the battery that goes to 383 or 388 kilometers of range. So this is something that Tesla's basically trolled the Canadian government, is what happened here.
Exactly, they did Germany.
Exactly. Now in Germany, they had to pay back all the money.
Yeah.
Yeah, that worked out well. That was a good plan.
That was a big plus.
They met the letter of the law.
No, they
They
met the letter. They screwed the spirit to a board and walked away from it. That was horrible. Mark and I talked about this. I mean, so like on one hand, I'm a big EV guy and I want to see more EVs. But the whole point of the Canadian law was that affordable EVs got a subsidy and luxury EVs did not. And what Tesla's done is they've taken a Model 3 that should cost more than they're selling it for. They're going to sell it and make money. And we know what's so, like, in the good cases for Tesla, what's going to happen is people are going to buy this $49,999 vehicle, take it home, and immediately update it so that they get the extra range that they want, because nobody wants a 93-mile, $45,000 EV. Mark?
Nissan keeps saying.
I'm sorry?
Nissan keeps saying.
That's, well, come on.
It's Nissan Leaf range right there.
It's not the
50
same
kilometers.
price. It's not the same price. It's not the same mileage. They're different. They're different. Somewhat.
So my confusion. So they had to have a base model that met the program.
Correct.
And then they could have options up to a certain amount, or is it the whole range?
They could have another model that's up to 55,000.
Okay, so like the base and the not base Nissan Leaf, and then the SR and the SR Plus would count.
Correct.
but not the primo tiers, like the Performance and the SL Plus, whatever.
That's right. Yeah, in Nissan's case, 2 of them qualify, 1 doesn't.
That's not bad. Gives you a little choice.
Yep. So there are 29 now with Tesla, 30 vehicles that qualify for the rebate in Canada.
I'm happy for the consumer. I mean, because in both in this case and the German case, you didn't have to upgrade the car. You probably would end up doing it though.
Now, what's
Snicker,
great?
snicker.
What's great is that the consumer wins in this case. I believe in either way, as long as the consumer is somewhat informed.
Yeah, hopefully.
I would hate to think that someone is going to purchase the 44999 model and think, oh, that's standard, 150 kilometers. That's great, and then realize that I can't go all that far on 150 kilometers.
What would be cool is some kid gets that for their first job out of school present, and then for their birthday, mom and dad give them the upgrade package.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. You know what else would be cool? Winning lotto tickets.
Someone telling me next week's winning numbers. That would be cool.
That'd be awesome.
I do, part of me is annoyed by this too, and I'll admit it. It's just my OCD-ness. But the idea that you buy one of these vehicles that makes, that meets the word of the law here, and you're essentially carrying 1,000 pounds of batteries around that you don't need.
But now you can run to 100% all day long, and it doesn't affect the dang thing.
Yeah, but 150 is obviously designed to deter anyone from buying it that knows what they're talking about.
Yeah, unless it's your third EV or you live around the corner from work,
even if it was because
yeah.
Tesla has indicated that you will be able to unlock the battery for a fee in the future.
Oh, it's better than that. Right now, they're not even locked. So at some future update, it's going to lock itself.
So you buy the car, it's got 383, and then 3 weeks later, it locks itself to 150.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the time that you're out of town by about 400 kilometers when it locks. Yeah, that's I don't know. I think that's how they get in trouble with the Germans, was allowing people to buy those extra options after the fact. As soon as they purchased the car, they could start unlocking things, and the German government came back at them and hammered them with that, and they had to pay back the money for all of those cars.
You know what? Here's my only concern is that that Tesla doesn't shit on the other car companies making electric vehicles. Okay? Because my goal is to put more electric vehicles into more houses. And if Tesla craps on this program and Canada goes, you know what? Screw it. It's not worth it. We're getting hosed. This isn't what we intended. And then everybody loses. It's not, I don't like the game played that way. I get that's the way it is played, but
hopefully they don't destroy it. That would suck. Because that would, like you said, would be the exact opposite of the intent on all sides, both the government, the customer. The customer and Tesla. I mean, if they thought that going in would destroy it, they would just say, "Oh, well, we don't qualify. That's not fair," and sue.
Well, that would
maybe
be another way to handle it. Sure.
Yeah, that would be one way.
that doesn't help the taxpayers either, because when you sue the government, you get stuck with a bill.
Yeah,
me and everyone else in Canada.
This is true, but that's what we've seen them do. If there's no way that they can meet it, they just sue that they've been excluded.
Wait. You're ignoring Germany, right?
No, they sued in Germany. They sued in New York. They sue
after they cheated. They sued.
They sued before they cheated.
They knew they were going to sue in the first place.
They're not afraid to use their lawyers. They're kind of Microsofty that way.
I got nothing.
So anyways, hopefully the consumer wins, because if you're in a province like British Columbia or Quebec, you also have the ability to pick up some EV credits from the province. So in BC, there's 5,000 there, plus the 5,000 federal. That turns into 10,000. And in Quebec, you've got a total pool of 13,000. So I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of Model 3s sold in Quebec and BC.
Hockey Day brings up the point that if you go to Supercharge, you'll be done in 11 minutes.
There's an optimistic thing, yes. Stop at the supercharger and you're done in 11 minutes. Absolutely. And as Casey mentioned, if the software obviously limits the battery, you can fill to 100%. There's no problem of going to 100% because there's more than half of the battery that's empty and will suck up that extra charge. So you will not have any problem with degradation.
You get 100% on the day that it does lock?
Yes. Yep. So maybe that'll beat it. you can have it without a lock. No, it's not going to be that way. They'll lock it. Don't worry. If you buy it, you're going to have a lock car to 150 kilometers, basically a first gen Leaf, I guess total distance. So
yeah, a little bit more. But I was thinking like the Prius. Remember when you'd go down the mountain and you'd have like miles after you got down the mountain before it would actually show any consumption on the gas or the battery. So if you're at 100% on lock day,
right.
And somebody else suggested don't connect to Wi-Fi and unplug the SIM card and see what happens.
All sorts of hacks are going to be tried out, I'm sure. I'd be really interested to know who actually takes them up on that 150 kilometer car. I just because you could at some point in the future unlock it, so it's not like you're stuck with 150 kilometers, but you may be stuck with it for 2 years or 1 year, depending on what the government says is the requirement, if there is a requirement like that. I have not been able to see that in the details of the legislation.
Yeah,
but
I tried to buy a Model S 40, so I'm definitely a candidate
for
that.
You tried to do that, and they got rid of it before you were able to purchase.
Elon,
there you go. If it's available, buy it, because it could be gone tomorrow. That's what we always say about Tesla, and it's very true.
If you see what you like, buy it. Like the new Model S and Model X, they don't have the perforated seats with air conditioner anymore. So in South Carolina, you get the swap.
Right. Russell, can I get you to look for those the Pepto-Bismol vehicle in the Twitter feed?
No.
Yeah, and as you look for that, I want to remind people, if you're watching the show currently, please give us a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and ring that bell to get notifications about upcoming shows. We would really appreciate that. You have, I guess that about wraps up the show. We're going to see if we can grab something, and I've put Russell on the spot. I apologize for that.
Yeah, I'm going to kick your ass for that.
But we've got one last thing. Kind of a fun story of a custom.
Are you ready?
Model 3.
There you go.
So
look at that, Ontario.
We've got someone in Ontario that have purchased a Model 3 black and wrapped it in this distinctive pink color.
Breast cancer awareness car.
Exactly. Or a representative for Pepto-Bismol.
Hi there.
Panther.
Matches her hair. So that's obviously the reason that this color was selected. But
she blacked out the chrome too. I like it.
Yeah. Did a really good job on the wrap. It looks spectacular. It looks unique. You will not go, which Model 3 is mine in the parking lot with this vehicle.
For sure.
Because there's not too many of this stand out like this. But hats off. Great choice. Love it.
Yeah.
Casey, any parting words or wisdom from you?
So if you are in the market for a used certified model anything, on the Tesla website, they now have pictures of the cars instead of renderings.
Real pictures,
like we've been
of
saying.
The actual cars.
Yeah, like they should have had 10 years ago.
Very good. Yeah. And is that just select markets?
I think
you can search by zip and pull up anything.
It's the same old Tesla website. It's just as they process them that now they're getting real pictures instead of renderings.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I want to go ahead and plug me on the YouTubes. It's Casey Green on YouTube. Is KACEYGREEN.
What was your latest video that you put up there, Casey?
Well, before I got sick, I put up the Turkey Lake, Florida Supercharger. So that one's on a turnpike. It is pretty unique.
Turkey Lake. Now, what area of the country is that, for those not familiar?
That one is just south of Orlando. So on your way to go see the mouse or to Universal, you can the mouse being Mickey Mouse, you can juice up.
Very good. Very
Yeah.
good. I passed by that supercharger on our trip in December.
Excellent.
We stopped at Russell's favorite haunt, which was Lake City, Florida, for our
Lake
supercharger.
City.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Picked
Russell
up some
even
crystal, I'm
commented on
sure.
that during our trip. He said,
Yeah.
I know Lake City.
Oh,
Yes, I do.
yes.
Yeah. And I'm not proud of it. I'm sorry.
So in the coming days, we've got a bunch more Florida superchargers, and then we took that Rivian trip. So then I've got all up the 95 corridor to Massachusetts, plus other stuff that's coming.
Casey, are you coming to Canada this summer? That's my question.
I need to get my passport renewed first.
Okay. You work on that. Okay.
Indeed.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Mr. Frost, what have you got for us?
I want to come to Canada this summer.
Absolutely. There's the door is always open for Mr. Frost.
I need to spend some more. I need to spend some time in Ontario. I've never done that. It's always
that would be awesome.
that other province.
That other province, a little closer to the East Coast.
Yeah,
Quebec.
Yeah.
You're mentioning.
Yeah, Quebec. They're very nice people over there, though.
Quebec. Very
That's
nice.
all. I don't really have anything other than What Drives Us starts
Yeah. How about a plug for tonight's show?
in an hour. Yeah, youtube.com/What Drives Us.
Perfect.
That's all I have.
Excellent. Excellent.
I want to thank everybody for watching us.
Absolutely. Everybody that's joined us here in the chat room. As always, we appreciate you coming in and sharing the hour with us. And we will talk to you all next week. And at that point, find out what's going on in the Tesla life. Good night, everybody. Have yourself a good week.